we've done the prospecting, we're doing the cold calling, we're master cold callers, it's warm calls, we've got people on email, people are booking meetings with us, great. How are we going to run the meeting? What percentage of you in this room, put your hand up, if in the last week you met one of your prospects or customers face to face? Okay, this is like the challenge right now. I would say this though, just on that, like even if you have to get permission, which sounds odd, but you know, from your boss, I would make it your business to try and get out at least one day a week to meet people in person. We've become so comfortable, you know, not doing that I just think we're missing a trick. And also we're humans. Like, come on, let's just have a good life. And even if you work in an office and your boss is like, no, like go and get some lunches in your diary that aren't just hanging out with your other mates in the office. Be an industry person, like make an effort. But the structure, so like ultimately running meetings and having a structure to your meeting is your responsibility, no one else's. It's really frustrating for experienced sales reps or management or people that in your business that get pulled into your meetings if you're disorganized and you don't know how to structure it, you don't know how to run an effective meeting. So there's just a couple of points I want to mention around meeting effectiveness. So the first thing is instant rapport. That wrong. I believe that likability can be trained. There's a lot of people that are just not enjoyable to be around, right? You probably know them. They're in your team, they're in your work, they're your friends. Like, I believe that likability can be trained, and I also believe that you know, rapport, which is not just connecting to someone about their kids and the level, like rapport as in like you can energetically connect with that person on a level and connect with that person from an expertise perspective, i.e. you have an understanding of their industry, their problems, your solution. That's what I'm talking about, but you're making it an instant connection. So like this part of your online meeting or your in-person conversation, like you need to instantaneously show up with some positive energy. So the first thing is like, I find it really weird when you connect with someone on Zoom and this is their expression. And then they like wake up like like they've been turned on. You should be smiling before you click that button, right? Literally, you should be thinking, how am I going to convey energy and a good level of excitement? So as soon as they click and they see my face, they see a ray of happiness, they see someone that they want to engage with, and you start having a dialogue, excuse me, that they are going to enjoy, right? So instant rapport, and then using the same things that we talked about on the cold call or the email, a personalized observation that is indisputable, that brings them into your world. I'm sure you're busy right now, just saw the acquisition announcement. There must be a lot going on for you right now because I've just seen you've hired 10 new people. You know, what is that piece of kind of observation that immediately shows them that you care? What's the clear objective and outcome for the meeting? So what's actually going to happen? And it's not just about today's meeting, it's about the journey you're on. This is the thing that most sellers forget, is that you're on a journey with someone. And all they do is they focus on today and they forget what happens next. Buyers need to know how to buy from you. They might know how to buy, but they don't know how to buy from you. They don't know how to buy from your company, your technology, how it works. So you explain, after you've got instant connection and rapport for your expertise and energy. The objective is today's meeting is I want to get to a stage where you fully understand our value proposition and how we can help you. And you're in a position to make a decision to move forward to the next stage. So you understand the next stage, what will happen next is once you've successfully evaluated, like it's all assumptive, i.e. like this is going to work, it's going to be great, we're going to solve your problems, we're good. As soon as you've evaluated today, what will happen next is we will set up another meeting with our solutions executive, or we will need to bring in XYZ. You basically explain all the steps to the close, right? You outline what's going to happen. Every time you're connecting with your buyer, you need to remind them of where they're at in the journey, on the journey that you've already explained to them that they're going on with you. There should be no surprises, no new people coming into meetings, no, oh, why am I suddenly speaking to your VP of sales? Your VP of sales is suddenly on the phone because he wants this deal done. Like, no. Oh, by the way, you know, I might bring in one of my executives just to help you feel comfortable with how serious we are about this opportunity, right? Does that make it clear? Like the objective is not just of today's meeting, it's explaining the journey that a buyer is going to go on with you. Only then do you go through the agenda. So this is the problem. People turn up, they're unengaging, they're boring, they're interested, and the buyer's already like, oh, fucking hell, I've got to work with this guy, he's a salesman, a salesperson. He just told me the agenda, like, it's just crap, it's boring, right? And it sounds like everyone else. So only once you've got instant rapport and you feel like there's a connection and like work the angle, you've set the clear objective for the meeting, but you've set the journey that they're on, then you explain the parts of today's agenda. Now your job is to control the agenda, not them. Don't let them take you on tangents that go off for half an hour. Don't let them go on like some exploratory. Yes, answer their questions, but bring them back to the structure. You don't reinforce the agenda, but you just let them know. Say, often people jump, you know, especially if you're doing demos, and we're going to talk about a demo in a minute, like they just keep jumping to what they want. Great question, I'm going to come back to that later. Great question, I'll come back to that later. Great question, I'll come back to that later. You control the agenda.
Sorry, Joe,
yep.
You would do, so when I run meetings, I thought the objective and agenda seem quite similar in terms of, so you go, you know, an observation, kind of be a report and go, isn't that objective part of the agenda kind of process?
No.
What was the differentiation between this is what the process is going to look like for the next few steps?
Yes, the agenda is what's going to happen in this meeting.
Okay,
it's
what's the journey overall?
Exactly. And then just a key step, it's just important reminder, involve everyone. This is the worst mistake that most people make, is that you get on a call, suddenly there's two people you never knew were going to be on the call, and you ignore them for the whole call. You don't engage with them, you don't build rapport with them, you don't ask them questions, you don't follow up, you don't prompt them, you just wasted that opportunity. If someone else is on that call that you do not expect, even better, you've got the other people that you do expect because you're controlling the process, so you brought in the other right decision makers. You need to make sure that you involve them, and at the end of that call, they all think you're awesome. Don't misalign energy and leave someone in the corner. Like, it's just bad practice. But I don't know why. I think it's just lack of self-awareness, to be honest. I just don't think people are aware how important everybody is. If they are on that call, they're important. Forget their title for a minute. Just get them engaged. So involve everyone in the conversation. And then the other reminder is, so you've covered your agenda, you've asked your questions, I'm not going to go into that now. Make sure you never overrun. I think it's sloppy. I think it is poor practice. I think you don't look professional. It's not acceptable, actually. Like, you've not done your job properly. And it happens all the time, and people really hate it. Like, we know that Zooms are back to back, right? Like, you say to them, "Are you okay? We run over 10 minutes," and they go, "Yeah." Like, honestly, you've not done your job. You should have wrapped up with 15 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, and you know, you also set the time. The one thing I like to do is say, just to let you know, we've still got 15 minutes left of this conversation. So I want to make sure that we're going to be able to cover everything that you would like to cover. Can I get your questions now? Or we've got 15 minutes to go. I'm going to walk you through these final 2 steps and explain the next step. And then we've got some more questions. The best thing you can do in a meeting is give someone back 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They will love you. They will absolutely love you, and it's a freebie. Go on.
So I'm with you on that, but if the prospect does have a lot of questions and they are really engaged and they just, you naturally go over that conversation, I'm always in my head like, gosh, I want to end this meeting because I am so strict with time. And it's just kind of a battle because I'm like, oh, well, they're into it, but should I, cut it off even if it was a really good conversation?
Okay, so what do you want to happen?
I mean, I want to keep talking. If I know, like, this just happened to me on Friday, yesterday. Start scheduled for 30 minutes. We talked for an hour. But it was mainly the other person talking, and I was learning more. So I was like, this is great. But also, I think there's, like, this psychology trick of, hey, I got to jump on my next call. Like, showing that you're busy and you have a schedule.
Okay, so here's my thing here with this is what kills most deals? Right? Lost momentum. You've got that person at peak energy. Like they are so built up about this, right? You could carry on like dining out on the fact they love what you do and do that, or you could use that energy to map out all of the next steps, who else in their organization they need to bring into the conversation, what is the procurement process, what is the budget, right? And that's kind of what I'm saying. There's always other people. So like I would start coaching them on that. You're like, great, I've got a champion, this person's super. So what tends to happen in our process right now is you will need to go and speak to 3 people. Start turning that like energy into the next step and make that next step an hour, because you know you're going to get an hour with them. Like, I'm not like, if you've both got the time, you've agreed to it, it's fair enough. But I'm saying you can be much more effective. Because what happened is you got super excited, right? And they're excited. You're both excited, and you learnt loads of more information. But did you really take them on the journey of what's going to happen? You haven't. So like that when you've got someone there, how are you going to leverage them to your advantage and direct them with that energy? Like, perfect prospect. Because the other thing is as well as momentum. Why does she need to talk to you again?
Like, would you ever do like label that thing's the Chris Voss thing, labeling it, where you go, it seems like there's lots here, lots of value. I appreciate we've got in half an hour, we've got 10 minutes left, there's a few little bits to carry on. But why don't we pencil in another hour and we can dive into this topic, because I don't want to take too much of time. So is that more of the approach to do?
Yeah.
And leverage that to bring those additional people into the next meeting. And by the way, it looks like you're super excited.
Yeah.
Let's pencil it down for next time. Oh, by the way, who else should be part of that meeting? Because if you're super excited, then it might be worth involving them right away.
Yeah.
Because most like momentum kills deals. You just lose people, right? And they feel great because they got everything they needed. And then they're like, suddenly they're the expert. It's like, don't worry, Jessica, like I've got everything I needed on that last call. Yeah, I'll come back to you when I'm good. And you're like, fuck. That's what happens most of the time. Like, because you're artificially creating a process Like they don't want a sales process, you know, it's a process.